Buffs Nation. Hope you guys are all doing well, having a wonderful evening. I'm back. Inspired by a couple things. One, a conversation I was having through text with our good friend John Cronenberg, and then a tweet I saw this morning about Colorado having the money to have Coach Prime or to give him that extension. And I started doing some math, kind of comparing some different season ticket prices with what's going on, for instance, in the SEC, and seeing, how could this thing, for Colorado work in making sure that we bring the money. And again, this is just an exercise. If I had the data, if I had some more accurate data, I'd be able to make some models to predict, what exactly we would need to bring in for a certain amount of contract for Coach Prime. But all this is going to be speaking in generalities. But I think that it proves the point that there is going to be money there, for this Coach Prime extension. Absolutely. Now, uh, where is this based out of? Let's just start with the ticket sales, the ticket prices, okay? Right now for a football game. I think it was very wise and it was very kind of Rick George and the rest of the athletic department to not really raise the price on season tickets this year. Um, First off, hats off to Cliff Moe. Wanna Beast again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it as always. But with the long suffering Buff fans that have supported this football program for a very long time, it was right for them to not raise prices going into this year, and that's been great. I think a lot of Buffs fans, we've been able to enjoy this football season at an amazing level, and credit to Rick George for doing that. But you got to imagine the season ticket prices are going to raise significantly next year, especially with, I would say, college football playoff expectations, right? So I started to do some math. All right, let's do this. So we got the uh, the capacity of Folsom Field. I see some different numbers, but right now we got it at 53,750 people. Okay. That's the capacity. All right. Let's not forget that. I was looking at, what's the average season ticket cost for, in the SEC. And the SEC, they do have some pretty expensive tickets. Now, some of their stadiums, or like University of Texas, for instance, they can kind of keep that overall season ticket price a little bit lower because their stadiums are so big, 80, 90, 100,000, all of that. Yes, you're right. Student tickets need to get a break though, and that's a good point. With the math that I'm going to do, let's just assume that, hey, factoring student ticket prices with the rest of general ticket prices, this is the average that we're going to be working with. But let's say, with the SEC right here, the numbers that I was looking at from this Auburn Wire USA Today article, they were saying, let's see, for Kentucky right now, season ticket prices, 6 games, $1,300. Okay. When you're looking at Auburn, the average price for one season ticket is $1,831. Man, that's a little pricey. For Georgia, we're looking at an average season ticket price of $2,100. Man, that is just insanity. That's a lot of money. So, Cliff Moe, awesome. $17 million. Just an economic boom happening in the area, that's for sure. But let's just do some general math. Let's try to be a little bit reasonable, I guess. We have a smaller capacity stadium, and for that reason, the demand is going to be much higher than the supply than we have right now. Hopefully, we can expand on the stadium here at some point, but let's just say, for instance, season tickets next year, they're averaging out at 1,500 a ticket. which comes out to 250 a game. Okay. So, uh, 250 a game, again, times the capacity of Folsom, times the 6 games. I mean, we're talking about just ticket revenue of north of $80 million. $80 million, and I feel like that might be on the low end, honestly, for season tickets for the Buffs next year, because you not only do we have a local demand here, in the state of Colorado, but this is going to be a national demand, to get out here for these games. And so, hey, what if the average season ticket price nets out at around at $300? I think this is what I saw on Twitter that got me thinking. $300. So if there's 6 home games, that's $1,800 for a season ticket. And multiply that by the stadium capacity of Folsom Field. $300 a ticket is netting you about $100 million in revenue. And then you're adding the alcohol sales, the food sales. I mean, the merchandise sales, I'm sure are already, going crazy. And we already know Coach Prime gets a cut out of that. But I think it's safe to say, we're going to have the money to give him the extension and the raise that, in my opinion, he has already well earned. And I mean, yeah, appreciate you guys being in here. Rob the man, thank you for tuning in. That's right. Smash that like button. Cliff Mo, you bring up a wonderful point, and we're going to have $30+ million, every year coming in from the Big 12. So when you're talking about that, you're talking about football revenue, TV revenue, all that stuff being well north of $130 million a year. Now, again, I don't know what all the budget breakdown comes to when it comes to, supporting the other non-revenue sports, but CU doesn't have a ton of non-revenue sports. I think we only have 6 men's sports, and we got a few more in women's, but we don't have a ton of sports. We don't. So, and that's kind of one of the advantageous things. I feel like that means that we can consolidate our money to be devoted towards the football program compared to some other universities around that have a ton of athletic programs. Like, we don't have wrestling. We don't have baseball. I know some of y'all want to see baseball. I know Coach Prime wants to see baseball. Personally, I don't care for baseball. But that's just me. But there's going to be money to pay this guy. Like, there's going to be money to pay the man moving forward because of the Prime effect. He is a stock in a sense, or an investment that pays for himself. And you got to imagine, and John's bringing up a great point. The clubs are going to dominate. They're going to skyrocket in price. That's absolutely true, especially because CU doesn't have a ton of suites right now. So that price is going to go exponentially up. Carson coming in here saying my season ticket was $300 for the entire season, FYI. Yes. And I think we're going to see that, substantially change probably going into next year, or over the course of kind of building up to, more being in line with really what the true demand is. I do hope that there are, longtime season ticket holders that are rewarded and continue to be grandfathered, in a sense, in terms of raising, their ticket prices and all of that. But I think when you're looking at it from just a business model, hey, if we want to price this at the demand, I mean, with our smaller capacity stadium, that really could create something where the average season ticket price to get in here next year could be, substantial. I mean, just for fun. Let's just do this for fun. Okay. Let's say the average season ticket price is $2,000 next year, or let's match it with Georgia, $2,100 for the season. Okay. So that comes out to, 350 a game. My goodness. Then we'll times it by the capacity of Folsom Field. I mean, well over $100 million, and, we'll just have to see. But I think Jeremy Bloom brought up some good ideas, and, you factor in what the boosters are contributing, right? all of that. The money is going to be there to pay Coach Prime. I mean, I don't think that we need to, we need to stress about that. And countdown timer. My goodness. And John, got to make sure I star that because I want to hit on that. But you were right, countdown timer. Jeremy Bloom brought this up about the possibility of a revenue share in ticket sales for Coach Prime. Let's give him the Nike Michael Jordan pitch. Okay. Let's give him that. We give him a base salary of $12 million. Then we give him, let's say, 10% of the season ticket sales or of all ticket sales. I mean, that is something that not all universities will want to do. Just like these sneaker companies, Adidas and Converse at the time. And I'm sure that there'd be a lot of pushback and frustration with other programs. But I mean, why not do it? Why not keep the good mojo going? It's easy for me to say, right? I'm just sitting in my bedroom speculating. But let's talk about that. I mean, let's say we bring in $100 million in ticket sales. Coach Prime gets 10% of that. That's $10 million on top of his base salary. That's $22 million. Holy moly. Then we add in whatever he's making out of percentage from the merch. I mean, beautiful stuff. And John brings up the other possible revenue streams that I would like to see you move forward with, a naming rights sponsorship. My goodness, man, wouldn't that just be great? So then we don't even have to worry about paying for stadium renovations by fundraising or just from fundraising or from ticket sales. We have a stadium sponsorship that's helping us expand the stadium because, man, I love Folsom, but I think there is, some room on campus to where we can expand. We can get those stands, the size of the stands increased. That'd be really nice. And then when you increase the size of the stands, that blocks the wind. That allows us to have, some bigger scoreboards, right? Because we need some bigger scoreboards. We need that. But I think that that's something that we should consider. And I think like right now, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about a school coming in here and saying, hey, we'll give you all this, yada, 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 if you want to come here. I think we can make Coach Prime the highest paid coach in college football. And then you're talking about, that I'm sure this is all speculation. I'm sure we're having more boosters coming to the fold. I mean, you got to imagine Joel Klatt is part of this, right? And I mean, what does he make? He probably makes just as much as, or if not more money right now being on TV than a lot of college football coaches make, including maybe Coach Prime. I'm not sure what his salary is, but I mean, the top guys at ESPN and Fox, I mean, they're making over $10 million a year, right? I'm pretty sure. I mean, you saw Tom Brady or Tony Romo. I mean, they're making well over that. So, I mean, and that's just one guy we're talking about. So the boosters are going to be there. And then, I mean, how all this stuff is worked out. I mean, say you do have to raise some money for the contract up front because, again, we don't have that revenue from future season ticket sales. Well, that's where the boosters come in because the boosters, they own the concession companies, they own the construction companies, on campus and all of that. And so, they can kind of put the money up front that is then rewarded to them, with these contracts with the university to regain, their initial investment, plus a little interest. That's how I'm assuming kind of how a lot of this stuff with the boosters goes on, right? Right. I like, or am I just like thinking that, you know, I I don't know. Maybe I'm still like a little naive and like people just really do give, out of the goodness of their heart to see the program succeed. But I would imagine that, boosters normally want return on their investment, being astute businessmen, right? So, anyways, I'll get to the comments. But I mean, at the end of the day, when we got all this sorts of stuff coming, the spring game on ESPN, we have college game day. The TV ratings are just, off off the charts right now. I mean, the fact that more people watched Nebraska, which hasn't been relevant as long as we have, pretty much. Uh, More people watched our game than Alabama, Texas. My goodness. Now I know there's that dispute with DirecTV, yada yada yada, but the point still remains. This program is just in high demand, and the money is it's already there. It's already there. We just need to realize it, right? But I think we give him that Nike offer. We give him that Nike offer, make him, an owner, a part owner in this whole thing. Disrupt. That's what this whole thing has been about, right? Disrupting how the whole college football power structure has been working. Maybe we put a little bit more power in the hands of the people actually making the whole thing go, right? Just like Nike did with Michael Jordan. All right, going to get through some of these comments. Yeah, Cliff Mo, in terms of the prices this year, again, we didn't raise them. So I remember when I called for season tickets in December, and I was just looking at the cheapest thing to get in the door, and they were around, I think, 350, 375, something like that. And yeah, you got to imagine that all that stuff is going through the roof. Especially since we're going to have uh, yeah, national championship considerations, right? I mean, the money's gonna be there. The money's absolutely going to be there, and it's not like Colorado has a small alumni base or anything like that. Again, this has just been an alumni base that's just been dormant for a long time. We got a ton of people that come here for you know, to become engineers and scientists and doctors and people that work in aerospace and all this fancy stuff. We got a law school too. Obviously, the business school is pretty well known and successful with a lot of the tech and startups. You know. Culture or environment that we have in the Denver Boulder area. Uh, the money's going to be there. The money is going to be there. So, all that to say, people that want to come in here and say, "Oh, just wait till he gets the next offer, and he's going to be gone to the SEC." That is that's not happening. That's not happening. The vibes are too immaculate. And Cliff Mo, you're right. Jackson State was supposed to do that, and there was some stuff going on where he wasn't getting that return. Um, I think CU, we gotta be the people that back up what we promise. We gotta do that. Definitely. Sco Buffs 100s. I'll donate 1 million. I'll donate a small portion of this channel, to what I make in the ad revenue. That could buy a few lottery tickets. That might give the program some better odds than the few bucks I'll give them. Um, but why not? It would be cool to kind of see us come up with a collective, and you got to imagine too, with bringing in more money for the season tickets. Again, if all this booster kickback stuff works how I think it is, because I think it does, because I'm not an expert on any of this, but if the boosters are also tied into the business with the universities, then if we're bringing in more money from the season ticket revenue, then we, in a sense, the boosters are going to be willing to spend more on NIL and all that stuff. All that stuff. So, really, if we want the full football program to be successful, from the facilities to the NIL to the coaching salaries, or not just the head coach, but the salary pools as well. You know what I'm saying? It all starts there with the ticket sales and the media revenue. And I think um, it's been great to see CU, their university sponsored media team. They've always done a really job, but they've a great job, but they've taken it up even a notch this year. I think to try and keep up with it, with everything that Coach Prime's family and friends have going on with their media channels, and that brings in ad revenue as well. Let's see, Black Sports Network, Heritage Sports, he did a breakdown of this maybe 6 months ago on the media model of reach the people and well off and all of that. and kind of giving it an idea of what they're bringing in with ad revenue every month. And man, it was substantial, and it was really cool to see. Check out his channel. That's BLK uh, Black Sports Media. He's awesome. I've really enjoyed his channel, so y'all check that out. $17 million in one day is absolutely insane. And when you experience something like this, you just don't let it go. You don't take it for granted, and you give the people responsible the respect and honor that they're due. Again, Coach Prime, I believe him when he says that he's not in this directly for the money. It's not about the money. Absolutely not. He feels called to be around and help mentor young men and win a ton of football games and become the best coach in college football, right? But your salary, dictates how much people appreciate you. That is absolutely true. We don't do anything for charity. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm usually considering, when I've moved around with jobs, pretty much for the most part, I've taken the highest offer that I could get, because they've also made me feel the most appreciated and respected. That's how it is. So, he rightfully should be looking to get that kind of paycheck, because he's one of one. We've been saying it, and y'all been saying it. Y'all been saying it all the time. ODB, the average price of a Stanford game will make around 28 million for the home game. What? Man, you got to tell me where you found that, cuz that is mind-blowing. I know things are more expensive there in the Bay Area, but um especially, man, with how many fans are showing up to their games right now? I want to know where you found that, because I got to dive into that, because that means that these projections could be even higher, for CU, which is really cool. Man, the money flying into Boulder for the USC game is going to be absolutely insane. And I gotta say, just living, just outside of Boulder, once Friday hit, the traffic, got a little busy. Every restaurant was booked out. Again, I was trying to get some dinner reservations for me and my wife, and man, yeah, everything was booked out. And yeah, it's an amazing thing. Like, we were going to Target on Friday night, and there's people walking around in Colorado gear and Coach Prime gear, and this is right by a bunch of hotels, so I assume, even living 20-30 minutes out from here, well, more like 20 minutes, 30 minutes from the airport or so, people are chilling over here in these hotels. And man, it was just cool to see. It was cool to see. And we're just seeing the beginning of it. But I do think, man, we got to be looking at a naming rights deal. Nike Stadium, or Folsom Field at Nike Stadium, something like that. Nike Stadium at Folsom Field, whatever you want to call it. Let's get one of these prime time sponsors to sponsor this stadium. Let's bring in that money, because that's what it's all about. Money, bringing in the money, bringing in the eyeballs, being prime time. We are not fully going after what this whole thing is all about, what we've embodied. If we're not finding every avenue to bring in more revenue to the program. So that's something that I would really like to see with Folsom. I wonder how players that transferred out feel now. Yeah, I wonder how Chance Main feels, and some of those other guys. Man, I was so pumped to see Chance Main play, man. And I know we got a rotation going on right now, but again, injuries happen, and I definitely think he would have gotten some playing time. But I haven't even looked to see how he's doing at Texas State right now. But that was great that they got that big upset win week 1 against, man, no, was it Baylor? Yeah, it was against Baylor, but they lost this past week to UTSA. What the heck? But you got to imagine, man, we are gearing up for another really insane transfer portal class this year. Why wouldn't you want to come here, especially if you're a defensive line player right now, front seven player? Yeah, I mean, the competition should be wide open. I think this next year for sure. Do you know how small Boulder is? Like I said, insane. Yeah, it's like 100,000, 115,000 people. So it's actually not too different than where I lived in West Texas in Abilene, except they have a university where there's like 30, 40,000 people on campus during the school season. So that makes it feel much bigger. And you get people aren't going on vacation in West Texas. That's for sure. But, people are coming out to visit Boulder all the time for Dead and Company and all these different festivals, or stay there for a little bit before they go up to Eldora and ski, or Vail, whatever. Man, it's a vacation destination, that's for sure. Prime Sports Media, appreciate you as always, man. You are too kind, and yeah, I sent you a DM earlier today, so let's figure out a time to collaborate again. I got this. You probably noticed this multi-stream feature now for StreamYard, so we can stream to both channels if you want, and I think that would be a lot of fun. But if y'all don't know about Prime Sports Media, y'all go check him out. He's phenomenal at what he does. He's got a great voice for this, a great personality, and he knows his stuff. He does his homework. So please be sure to subscribe to him. Yo, Creo, I believe JSU wanted Coach Prime at a discounted price. I hope Colorado doesn't make the same mistake. Yeah, from what I've read and listened to, that definitely seems to um, be the case. And to me, I mean, I didn't watch a lot of different interviews that he did, but I did watch the 60 Minutes interview that he did, where he said, I think eventually, he kind of alluded to the fact that he did want to get up to that top level of college football. And I think it was inevitable at some point, but I think you're right from what I've heard, and you're speaking to it right now. There were some things that like they might have taken it for granted in some sense. And I think that, CU, I just don't want to see us pass this opportunity by, with us being in the basement of college football for 20 years. Really, really appreciate this. I don't want us to start feeling entitled, really anything. Just be appreciating all this, just every freaking day. Just appreciate it. This is crazy stuff. And who would have ever thought? I mean, you couldn't have dreamt this up. It's a miracle, really, man, that I feel like he chose to come here. And credit again to the university for getting everybody on board to go out and get this. And like Coach Prime said on Saturday, it wasn't that they were taking a chance on him. He said rather roll the dice. But I mean, we had the stones to say, we will take a step back. We will allow you to run things how you want. And we're going to check our ego at the door because we recognize greatness. And I'm hoping we don't lose sight of that as this thing continues to gain steam. I don't want any of that, including us fans. I just want us to enjoy it. Let's see. Trying to pick out a few more comments. Cliff Mo, Texas State. Are you saying they play Jackson State next? I might have to check in on that this weekend. Obviously, the festivities are going to be absolutely insane. I'm hoping possibly to meet up with Bird's Eye View. I'm going to have him on the show on Thursday. Really excited to have him on there. But I mean, yeah, I got to figure out if I'm going to the game, and if not, if I'm going to go to campus. And just kind of see the whole thing throughout the day with everybody doing their shows. Rob the Man Media coming in here saying the football program will generate enough money for baseball and softball team. Yeah, I think so. And again, if we want to go in that direction, if Coach Prime wants to go in that direction, if he wants to be coaching baseball too, if he wants to be, a manager, I'm all for it. Like, just let him have fun here. This should be about having fun. My personal preference is and it's expensive, so it's not really feasible. So y'all don't come in here telling me that my idea is terrible. I know it's terrible, but I'd like to see CU have a hockey team. DU has a very successful hockey team. They've won a ton of national championships, put a ton of guys in the NHL, and I think it would be great to see an in-state competitor at that level. Now we do have I think Colorado Tech down south a little bit. They're also a Division One program, but there's not a ton of schools that play Division One hockey. And again, it would take a big financial investment because we would need to renovate our rink that we have on campus for sure. And yeah, I mean, hockey is just a very expensive sport to play, to travel, everything like that. But it could be a lot of fun. And I think as a hockey fan, I don't really talk about hockey on here, but as a hockey fan, I would love to see that. But I don't think that's in the cards at all. Just a dream that I have. But you know what? I think I might be interested in baseball a little bit more again if we just let everybody do steroids, man. I just got to be honest, man. Like, I grew up in the steroid era, and I think kind of what got me disinterested in baseball is that we crucified all my heroes. All my heroes that I had, all these binders, I still have them, all these binders of baseball cards with my heroes like Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire and Roger Clemens and Andy Pettitte and all those guys. And they were all just put through the ringer, whether it was, rightful or not, man. The fact that baseball handled that out in the public like that, Congress was getting involved. Like, I didn't really understand that as a kid, but now as an adult, what the hell was our Congress doing getting involved in pro sports? What? Anyways, Riccardi. NIL deals will determine if Prime will be able to draw and keep the top players. Facts. Yes. And just like I laid out, I mean, we're bringing in more revenue on game day and for the tickets and the concessions and the apparel. There's going to be more money, starting to show up for the NIL. You're absolutely right about that. They can tear his current contract right now, can't they? They absolutely should. I mean, again, we've been talking about this for months, and it's finally great to see other people that, actually have real sway. Unlike me, starting to put this out there that he is definitely deserving. Like, at the very least needs to be in the top 5. But I think, man, you pay for that uniqueness. You pay him for the fact that nobody else can do what he does. And this is what this is what I don't get. Think with this business mindset. Like, you're never paying for what they've done. You're always paying for the potential, what you see the whole thing becoming. Like, this is what investment's all about. You're never wanting to buy Disney at its highest stock. You're never wanting to buy Apple at its stock. Or at its top stock price. You're wanting to find these stocks that are, a bargain right now compared to where they should be in 10 years. This is exactly it. And that's why I think even if making Coach Prime the highest paid coach in college football, it is buying low on a stock, on a booming stock right now. And we're already seeing the dividends. I mean, good miss, man. The dividends are just crazy right now. And Coach Prime needs the proper respect. Park Ryan says Colorado can't compete financially with the SEC. Prime will be gone soon. Again, completely disagree if you've listened to what I've had to lay out. The money's going to be there to pay him, and it's just going to be whether the university and the boosters want to commit to that. But I think that this is something that is substantial, and especially right now with the overloaded demand to the small supply of seats, that's going to raise the prices, and that's going to bring in it's going to bring in over $100 million in revenue for the university next year, just with ticket prices. And you got to imagine too that more boosters, more alumni, They're understanding the vision. They're seeing it be put into effect right now. You don't see, the SEC paying their coaches, 20 million plus right now. Do you? I mean, what's Nick Saban's salary right now? Highest paid coach in college football. I don't feel like this is right. Google's telling me this is just his base salary. 5.3? No. Dabo Sweeney. Let's see. This is just based off of rookie read on Google. Dabo Sweeney, 10.5. Nick Saban, 10.395. Kirby Smart, 10.25. Lincoln Riley, 10 million. And then Brian Kelly's in there at 9.5, right there next to Mel Tucker and Ryan Day. They make the same thing. So, and I think now the Oregon coach Dan Lanning is in that. But I think another point too is again, we could get crafty. We've kind of taken a startup, aggressive approach with this, just like Nike did with getting their basketball program rolling. And who's to say, man, we can't give them a $10, $12 million base. You're saying that, I mean, we're paying him $5 million right now, 5.5, something like that. You're saying the university can't come up with 4.5 million more dollars compared to these SEC schools that can. With these boosters, with these programs, they can all afford that. It's just them deciding if they want to, and if they want to set a precedent. I think CU could, but to say that the SEC can afford a coach that's $5 million more a year right now than the University of Colorado, when these institutions are bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars that a year, when the athletic programs are bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars a year, I think I think that's very short-sighted, and it's based off of, hey, SEC superiority. Do the math. They can afford it. Do they want to spend it? We're going to find that out. But I appreciate you chiming in. All right, I'll go for a few more minutes here. Appreciate everybody chiming in as always. Sorry, got a little fired up there, but I'm not mad. I'm just man, you guys just got me fired up. Let's see here. Steven coming in here. Texas A&M could easily afford it. Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's just, do they want to? Do these universities, are they okay sharing the pie? And that's really it. Because we know guys like Nick Saban and Kirby Smart could be making NFL Sean Payton level money. No doubt. 17, 18, $20 million, right? I mean, it with these media deals, especially with the Big Ten. And yes, like the SEC is going to bring in a ton of money in the media deal. The Big Ten is bringing in a ton of media money with their deal. But to say that that's the only way that they can afford coaches is not, it's not there. Stanford, they have no reason why they shouldn't be one of the best football programs in the country. Them and Cal with their alumni bases, definitely Stanford, one of the I think they have the richest or the highest endowment in the entire country. But it's, again, what they want to do with that. Do they want to share? Do they want to invest it into the football program? Do they want to change how they do some things academically for athletes so that they can have a bigger brand in athletics and therefore grow their university even further? They've just decided that they don't want to do that. And I think for these Power 5 schools, for most of these Power 5 schools, I think the idea of saying they can't afford a coach is wrong. We could have totally matched Mel Tucker's contract when he decided to leave for Michigan State, 3 years ago. but there wasn't enough belief in what was going on at the time to where the boosters and the university wanted to match that offer. So that's just what I'm thinking. Oh, good call, Lejeune. Harvard. I forgot about the Ivy League. Absolutely. Harvard endowment is at 40 billion. And I know there's a lot of legalities of what you can use that you know, endowment money for. But I like to think, hey, these universities, they are represented by, the top lawyers and law firms in the entire world. And, they can figure out some ways to get money flowing where it needs to be flowing, right? That's just my thoughts. So, um, but we're gonna have the money, man. That's just my thoughts. Again, I'll go for a minute. I'm having a late dinner here, so yeah. But yeah, man, these universities want to act like, oh man, our budgets are so tight, and yada 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 yada. No, no, you're just choosing to go in debt for certain things that you're not wanting to pay for with the money you got from somewhere else, man. That's just really it. Michigan might offer him. I mean, we're talking about the cold. It's not really that cold here in Boulder. Uh, in Michigan or for Michigan State, it's cold there. And again, man, they could prove me wrong. Absolutely. But I think that with some of these college football blue blood programs, there's too much ego there. There's too much ego. These boosters, these board of trustees members, they don't want to check their ego. They don't want to relinquish power. And that's just my theory. That's why I feel like it's such a good fit here. I think a lot of these blue blood programs would have issues checking their ego at the door and allowing what's going on here, allowing at the University of Michigan, so to speak. So yeah, the weather's great here. Again, I grew up in northern Illinois. I grew up an hour north of Chicago, dealt with those terrible Midwestern winters for 17 years of my life. I will never move back to the Midwest ever in my entire life. I love living out here. You get snow, but it's melted there by noon the next day. That is not true in the Midwest. So, those winters are long, they're miserable, and out here they're just something that you can enjoy. I can tolerate, the 3 months of cold weather that we get out here, to be honest. And our coldest months, January through March, it's not even in the football season. You're not even playing when it's truly cold, when you got that winter bitter cold out here, and you still get days in the 60s in between. So, I mean, that's just what's so great about living out here, and the players shouldn't really have to worry about that, the outdoor conditions during the football season. It's really just the off season where you have to put up with the bulk of it, and that's why it's like when you come to vacation here, it's always hit and miss in kind of March and April. Like if you're wanting to get outside and not have to deal with random snows, just avoid those months. Come later on or come in the fall, because you'll get random snow in March. I think March we had our most snow this year, and then in April, as we experienced this year, a little bit colder of an April than I've experienced in the 5+ years that I've lived here. Yeah, it's just kind of it's all over the place. You'll get all the different seasons in April, in terms of weather. So I appreciate you guys as always. Again, this is just my opinion, and I appreciate you guys sharing yours. I might, I might chirp back of why I feel like why I'm justified to say what I say, but I appreciate every single one of you guys. You guys are great. Thanks for tuning in. Pork Rhines, Kyle, Derek, Bawana Beast. Who else we got in here? Stephen G, Lejeune, Prime Sports Media, as always. I mean, Hank. How much do they get paid from TV ratings? I'll answer this right now. I want to say it's around 30, just a hair under 32 million next year for the Big 12. So we'll see where that goes. I mean, you got to imagine with this brand here coming in the Big 12, we're going to see some higher media payouts, hopefully. I think there's some flexibility with these contracts. So y'all let me know. I appreciate you guys as always. I'll be back tomorrow, and Go Buffs.